Anno 1800 happens to be the latest installment, taking place in the 19th century. Players will be going through colonial trade as they build up their city and manage its citizens, workers, and artisans. Building the city should also be a bit easier with this installment, thanks to the blueprint feature to help plan your area a bit better. Likewise, you'll need to build the area up to help attract tourists with natural land along with local festivities. To top it off, there is a sandbox and multiplayer game mode. In multiplayer mode, up to 4 players can join a match in an attempt to conquer islands, trade, and simply build an empire together. That doesn't mean there won't be any strategy as you race to reach certain milestones, such as the first to build up a monument, securing a certain amount of investors and revenue. Most city-building games focus on the player having a piece of land and going up from there. But in Farthest Frontier, you'll have to lead a group of settlers to survive in a location at the edge of the world. Don't let the location drown out your hope and slowly build up a new community for your people. Farthest Frontier has one of the deepest farming systems you'll ever see. You'll have to grow food to survive long-term and hunt for resources to build your home even further. Make life sustainable and fight back against threats, natural and human, when they arrive. Banished is an interesting title, as it's not a typical city builder. Instead of modern cities or futuristic worlds, Banished follows an outcast group of citizens who must live in a remote community. This small group will rely on players carefully managing the various resources for their survival. Starting from scratch, gamers can build their community into a thriving city that can be maintained from the birth of children to accepting wandering citizens out in the world. Speaking of citizens, in Banished, as players grow their cities, citizens will age and eventually die, which results in citizens being a precious resource to account for. Ixion has a familiar storyline. It puts players into the role of a spaceship commander. You're on a journey through space with a group of survivors. With hopes of finding a new home, players mainly have to ensure that the survivors on board are taken care of. Being in space, you'll constantly have to work around the clock to find new resources to haul back in hopes of preventing a mutiny. There are several research unlocks to get through, areas to uncover, jobs to place survivors on, locations to mine, and even other survivors out there in the deep dark depths of space. However, resources are not all you'll need to be mindful of, as you never know when disaster might strike and need your attention on the ship. One could argue that on the grand scale, Civilization 6 is the best city builder game ever made, mainly because you're going to be building a lot of cities over the course of your empire more times than not. What's more, Civilization 6 went and overhauled its city building and presentation of the districts within to allow you to make each city special and functional in all the ways that matter. And of course, because you play as some of the greatest leaders of history, you'll get to take things in various directions as you build toward your own personal quest for world domination or world peace. In short, you'll definitely want to take Civilization 6 for a spin. Tropico has been around for a good while, and fans received a new installment to the franchise back in 2019 with Tropico 6. This is a series where players take on the role of a leader known as El Presidente, who is in control of a Caribbean island. Being the leader, you'll have control over a variety of aspects that range from political situations, laws, and overall management of the island itself. Gamers will be taking control of the island throughout 4 eras. How you handle various situations will determine if your island flourishes or if you'll end up dealing with a revolt. Similar to other city management style video games, it's a mix of keeping your location looking nice while catering to the citizens' needs. Laysara Summit Kingdom is a challenging city-building game that takes the genre to new heights. After your people are driven from the plains, you have to build them a new home on the mountainside. Each time you play a story or sandbox, you will build cities on different mountains with unique features and challenges. Your cities coexist, so you can tailor your trade network to the cities you've already built. Rebuild the Lost Kingdom of Laysara. Each mountain has unique challenges, different shapes, layouts, resources, and weather conditions. Sometimes you have large lands to farm on green plains, and sometimes you have to extract precious metals from frozen areas. If you are in trouble for any resource, you can always trade with other cities. In City Skylines, players will be able to dip their toes into the world of urban planning by overseeing the construction of their own city. This is another of the tycoon games with a highly realistic vibe, combining a multitude of real-world structures, vehicles, and systems to help players design, build, and maintain their dream city. City Skylines also features a number of simulation elements that mimic real-world events such as traffic, weather, dynamic day and night cycles, and more. As mayor of your own metropolis, it'll be down to you to make and monitor policy, law, and the economy on an ongoing basis. A great game for those looking to keep it real. How excited are players for this medieval strategy city builder? Among the top wishlist games on Steam like Starfield and Hollow Knight's Silk Song, there's Manor Lords. The medieval city builder is ambitious as heck and goes far beyond just building and managing a town, with tactical battles and a diplomacy system at your disposal as you expand and defend your holdings. The gridless building system will hopefully produce some genuine-looking towns and villages, and it's packed with historically accurate details. I played the Manor Lords demo in October, and while it was pretty brief and didn't include any of the combat systems, it was still excellent. A sci-fi inspired city building game that's all about building functional homes for humanity on the Red Planet. Surviving Mars combines survival with colonization. Players will need to discover ways to create their own sustainable livable environments on the notoriously harsh new world of Mars. Mining, farming, and other forms of resource gathering are a key part of many tycoon games, but trying to do it on the surface of Mars provides players with a brand new set of challenges. This is a fun and engaging tycoon game where your strategy could mean the difference between life and death for your colonists. Surviving Mars also incorporates storylines into the game via different events that will take place during your colony building adventures. Frostpunk puts a chilling spin on survival in a post-apocalyptic world. In 11-bit Studios' strategy city builder, the player is given the reins to create a city in the middle of a frozen wasteland. Every scrap collected is just as important as even the smallest choices you'll make as you decide how to rule your steam-driven city. With the world at your neck, do you rule with kindness or fear? The game offers 3 modes, to go through all of which feature different gameplay storylines. For instance, depending on the game mode, players may lead a group of explorers on an expedition to find a new coal reserve north of London, or you could find yourself playing as a leader of a refugee group that has taken control of a generator city reservation made exclusively for the wealthy. In Against the Storm, you'll be tasked with rebuilding the world after a terrible storm destroyed it. As the Viceroy, you'll lead the charge to rebuild several settlements in a forest with many secrets and riches. A key difference in this city building game is whom you'll be helping. You're not just assisting humans to build their homes. You'll make settlements with various mystical creatures and attempt to keep everyone happy and healthy. But many dangers lurk within these woods, and massive storms will try to destroy all you've built. So stand firm against these threats and ensure the well-being of your kingdom. The 2 Point Hospital games are always fun, light-hearted experiences. You'll build up everything from the decor and fauna outside of the buildings to the innards of each structure. There are housing to take care of, professors to hire, and student needs to be mindful of. Although, the campus itself might be a bit more unique to what you'd find today. Players will build up campuses made specifically for certain professions. For example, you might craft a school aimed for knights to a location where chefs can learn how to create the perfect giant pizza. If you ever played a 2 Point game before, like the modern 2 Point Hospital, you know exactly what you're in for. The SimCity has been a long-running video game franchise that first debuted into the market back in 1989. Several developers and publishers have had their hand on the video game franchise, and it's been available on a wide range of platforms. In a lot of ways, SimCity is one of the pioneering video game franchises to help other popular tycoon video games come out into the market. Because this franchise has been around since the late 1980s, there are so many video game titles available to play, but the latest main installment to really hit the market was SimCity, a 2013 reboot, which had its own rocky launch and issues, but we won't open that can of worms here. Overall, SimCity allows players to create a city and build upon it while aiding any issues that the civilians bring up. Of course, one of the wrenches that is tossed at players' progress is the various natural disasters and hostilities that occur, which will require rebuilding up parts of your city locations. Going for a more low-key setting, the Constructors will put you in a town that is set for reconstruction. You'll head up the construction company setup to do the building, and as the boss, you have to control everything and build the city back to its former glory. But how you do that is up to you from top to bottom. You'll decide the materials to use on things, how to construct certain rooms for things like apartments, and even have to deal with the local people if they're exactly your fans.